Good evening and welcome to Third Church of Christ Scientist of New York City. Let's begin with singing hymn number 75. God comes with succor speedy to those who suffer wrong, to help the poor and needy, and bid the weak be strong. He comes to break oppression, to set the captive free, to take away transgression and rule in equity. Number 75. I'll read from the Bible and from Science and Health with Key to the Scriptures by Mary Baker Eddy. The subject of this evening's readings is government, the Bible, Psalms. The kingdom is the Lord's, and he is the governor among the nations. God be merciful unto us and bless us, and cause his face to shine upon us, that thy way may be known upon earth, thy saving health among all nations. Let the people praise thee, O God, let all the people praise thee. O let the nations be glad and sing for joy, for thou shalt judge the people righteously and govern the nations upon earth. Let the people praise thee, O God, let all the people praise thee. 1 Kings. Solomon loved the Lord, walking in the statutes of David his father. In Gibeon, The Lord appeared to Solomon in a dream by night, and God said, "Ask what I shall give thee." And Solomon said, "Thou hast showed unto thy servant David my father great mercy, according as he walked before thee in truth, and in righteousness and in uprightness of heart with thee. And thou hast kept for him this great kindness, that thou hast given him a son to sit on his throne as it is this day. And now, O Lord my God, thou hast made thy servant king instead of David my father, and I am but a little child. I know not how to go out or to come in, and thy servant is in the midst of thy people, which thou hast chosen, a great people that cannot be numbered nor counted for multitude. Give therefore thy servant an understanding heart to judge thy people, that I may discern between good and bad. For who is able to judge this thy so great a people? And the speech pleased the Lord, that Solomon had asked this thing. And God said unto him, Because thou hast asked this thing, and hast not asked for thyself long life, neither hast asked riches for thyself, nor hast asked the life of thine enemies, but hast asked for thyself understanding to discern judgment. Behold, I have done according to thy words. Lo, I have given thee a wise and an understanding heart, so that there was none like thee before thee, neither after thee shall any arise like unto thee. And I have also given thee that which thou hast not asked, both riches and honor, so that there shall not be any among the kings like unto thee all thy days. And if thou wilt walk in my ways to keep my statutes and my commandments, as thy father David did walk, then I will lengthen thy days. And Solomon awoke, and behold, it was a dream. And he came to Jerusalem and stood before the ark of the covenant of the Lord, and offered up burnt offerings and offered peace offerings, and made a feast to all his servants. Then came there 2 women that were harlots unto the king, and stood before him. And the one woman said, O my lord, I and this woman dwell in one house, and I was delivered of a child with her in the house. And it came to pass the 3rd day after that I was delivered, that this woman was delivered also, and we were together. There was no stranger with us in the house, save we 2 in the house. And this woman's child died in the night, because she overlaid it. And she arose at midnight, and took my son from beside me, while thine handmaid slept, and laid it in her bosom, and laid her dead child in my bosom. And when I rose in the morning to give my child suck, behold, it was dead. But when I had considered it in the morning, behold, it was not my son, which I did bear. And the other woman said, Nay, but the living is my son, and the dead is thy son. And this said, No, but the dead is thy son, and the living is my son. Thus they spake before the king. Then said the king, The one saith, This is my son that liveth, and thy son is the dead. And the other saith, Nay, but thy son is the dead, and my son is the living. And the king said, Bring me a sword. And they brought a sword before the king. And the king said, Divide the living child in 2, and give half to the one, and half to the other. Then spake the woman whose the living child was unto the king, for her bowels yearned upon her son, and she said, O my lord, give her the living child, and in no wise slay it. But the other said, Let it be neither mine nor thine, but divide it. Then the king answered and said, Give her the living child, and in no wise slay it. She is the mother thereof. And all Israel heard of the judgment which the king had judged. And they feared the king, for they saw that the wisdom of God was in him to do judgment. Isaiah, unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder. And his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. Of the increase of his government and peace there shall be no end upon the throne of David and upon his kingdom, to order it and to establish it with judgment and with justice, from henceforth even forever. The zeal of the Lord of hosts will perform this. Mark. And straightway in the morning the chief priests held a consultation with the elders and scribes and the whole council, and bound Jesus, and carried him away, and delivered him to Pilate. And Pilate asked him, Art thou the King of the Jews? And he answering said unto him, Thou sayest it. Luke. And the people stood beholding, and the rulers also with them derided him, saying, He saved others, let him save himself, if he be Christ, the chosen of God. And the soldiers also mocked him, coming to him and offering him vinegar, and saying, If thou be the King of the Jews, save thyself. And a superscription also was written over him in letters of Greek and Latin and Hebrew, This is the King of the Jews. And one of the malefactors which were hanged railed on him, saying, If thou be Christ, save thyself and us. But the other, answering, rebuked him, saying, Dost not thou fear God, seeing thou art in the same condemnation? And we indeed justly, for we receive the due reward of our deeds. But this man hath done nothing amiss. And he said unto Jesus, Lord, remember me when thou comest into thy kingdom. And Jesus said unto him, Verily I say unto thee, today shalt thou be with me in paradise. Matthew. When the Son of Man shall come in his glory, and all the holy angels with him, then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory. And before him shall be gathered all nations, and he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divideth his sheep from the goats. And he shall set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on the left. Then shall the king say unto them on his right hand, Come, ye blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was an hungered, and ye gave me meat. I was thirsty, and ye gave me drink. I was a stranger, and ye took me in. Naked, and ye clothed me. I was sick, and ye visited me. I was in prison, and ye came unto me. Then shall the righteous answer him, saying, Lord, when saw we thee an hungered and fed thee, or thirsty and gave thee drink? When saw we thee a stranger and took thee in, or naked and clothed thee? Or when saw we thee sick or in prison and came unto thee? And the king shall answer and say unto them, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye have done it unto one of the least of these my brethren, ye have done it unto me. Luke. Consider the lilies, how they grow. They toil not, they spin not, and yet I say unto you that Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. If then God so clothe the grass which today is in the field, and tomorrow is cast into the oven, how much more will he clothe you, O ye of little faith? And seek not ye what ye shall eat, or what ye shall drink, neither be ye of doubtful mind. For all these things do the nations of the world seek after, and your Father knoweth that ye have need of these things. but rather seek ye the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added unto you. Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. I'll read correlative passages from the Christian Science textbook, Science and Health with Key to the Scriptures, by Mary Baker Eddy. Like our nation, Christian Science has its Declaration of Independence. God has endowed man with inalienable rights, among which are self-government, reason, and conscience. Man is properly self-governed only when he is guided rightly and governed by his Maker, divine truth, and love. The term science, properly understood, refers only to the laws of God and to his government of the universe, inclusive of man. From this it follows that businessmen and cultured scholars have found that Christian Science enhances their endurance and mental powers, enlarges their perception of character, gives them acuteness and comprehensiveness, and an ability to exceed their ordinary capacity. The human mind, imbued with this spiritual understanding, becomes more elastic, is capable of greater endurance, escapes somewhat from itself, and requires less repose. A knowledge of the science of being develops the latent abilities and possibilities of man. It extends the atmosphere of thought, giving mortals access to broader and higher realms. It raises the thinker into his native air of insight and perspicacity. Every function of the real man is governed by the divine mind. The human mind has no power to kill or to cure, and it has no control over God's man. The divine mind that made man maintains his own image and likeness. The human mind is opposed to God and must be put off, as St. Paul declares. All that really exists is the divine mind and its idea, and in this mind the entire being is found, harmonious and eternal. The straight and narrow way is to see and acknowledge this fact, yield to this power, and follow the leadings of truth. That mortal mind claims to govern every organ of the mortal body, we have overwhelming proof. But this so-called mind is a myth, and must by its own consent yield to truth. It would wield the scepter of a monarch, but it is powerless. The immortal divine mind takes away all its supposed sovereignty and saves mortal mind from itself. The author has endeavored to make this book the Aesculapius of mind as well as of body, that it may give hope to the sick and heal them, although they know not how the work is done. Truth has a healing effect, even when not fully understood. When man is governed by God, the ever-present mind, who understands all things, man knows that with God all things are possible. The only way to this living truth which heals the sick is found in the science of divine mind as taught and demonstrated by Christ Jesus. Mind's government of the body must supersede the so-called laws of matter. Controlled by the divine intelligence, man is harmonious and eternal. Whatever is governed by a false belief is discordant and mortal. The divine mind includes all action and volition, and man in science is governed by this mind. It is the province of spiritual sense to govern man, material-erring human thought acts injuriously, both upon the body and through it. Mind, supreme over all its formations and governing them all, is the central sun of its own systems of ideas, the life and light of all its own vast creation, and man is tributary to divine mind. Whatever is governed by God is never for an instant deprived of the life, of the light and might of intelligence and life. The understanding that the ego is mind and that there is but one mind or intelligence begins at once to destroy the errors of mortal sense and to supply the truth of immortal sense. This understanding makes the body harmonious. It makes the nerves, bones, brain, etc., servants instead of masters. If man is governed by the law of divine mind, his body is in submission to everlasting life and truth and love. Whatever enslaves man is opposed to the divine government. Truth makes man free. You may know when first truth leads by the fewness and faithfulness of its followers. Thus it is that the march of time bears onward freedom's banner. The powers of this world will fight and will command their sentinels not to let truth pass the guard until it subscribes to their systems. But science, heeding not the pointed bayonet, marches on. There is always some tumult, but there is a rallying to truth's standard. The history of our country, like all history, illustrates the might of mind and shows human power to be proportionate to its embodiment of right thinking. A few immortal sentences breathing the omnipotence of divine justice have been potent to break despotic fetters and abolish the whipping post and slave market. But oppression neither went down in blood, nor did the breath of freedom come from the cannon's mouth. Love is the liberator. Man, governed by immortal mind, is always beautiful and grand. The universe of spirit is peopled with spiritual beings, and its government is divine science. Man is the offspring not of the lowest, but of the highest qualities of mind. Man understands spiritual existence in proportion as his treasures of truth and love are enlarged. Mortals must gravitate Godward. Their affections and aims grow spiritual. They must near the broader interpretations of being and gain some proper sense of the infinite in order that sin and mortality may be put off. This scientific sense of being, forsaking matter for spirit, by no means suggests man's absorption into deity and the loss of his identity, but confers upon man enlarged individuality, a wider sphere of thought and action, a more expansive love, a higher and more permanent peace. St. Paul says, "Work out your own salvation with fear and trembling." Jesus said, "Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom." Let's pray together silently for a few moments, and then pray aloud together the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Let's sing hymn number 178. 178. I'll read the second verse. Love, the golden rule of living, showeth forth the perfect mind. Love, our debt to God who gives it, all compassion is, and kind. Charity the law fulfilleth, mid the nations' rancor stilleth. Loving hearts in friendship blend, one in him, our heavenly friend. Number 178. This church is a branch of the Mother Church, the First Church of Christ Scientist in Boston, Massachusetts. We hold Sunday services at 11 a.m. and Wednesday testimony meetings at 7:30 p.m. We also have services in Spanish, Sundays at 12 noon and Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m. All services are held in person and online, and all are welcome. Third Church offers Sunday school classes in person and online for children and teens. These free one-hour classes are available each Sunday at Sunday school. Students learn how much God loves them and cares for them. They also learn about the Bible characters and lessons and the healing power of prayer. For more information on times and classes, please send us an email, thirdchurch@thirdchurchnyc.com. Replays in English and Spanish of this church's Christmas talk titled Jesus' Birth in a Troubled World, Finding Safety in Love by Dr. Shirley Paulson, a noted Bible scholar and Christian Science practitioner, are available on our website, thirdchurchnyc.com. We invite earnest students of Christian Science to join us in our healing mission. For information about becoming a member of this church, Please ask an usher or the clerk after any service, or send us an email. Third Church at thirdchurchnyc.com. Third Church and other Christian Science churches in New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut invite you to a series of weekly inspirational radio talks in Spanish, broadcast Sundays at 9 a.m. through January 17th on WADO 1280 AM radio. The Spanish language series is titled The Road to Christian Healing. The experienced, internationally based speakers are members of the Christian Science Board of Lectureship. Replays of each talk will be available at thirdchurchnyc.com until January 31st. This meeting is now open for all to share experiences of healing and spiritual insights that prove God's ever-presence and power in their lives. If you're listening by telephone and would like to speak, press *6 and wait until your line is unmuted. Please speak directly into the microphone of your phone. Your message will be easier to hear if you don't use the speaker function. And to avoid feedback, please have only one device on at a time. If you're watching via Zoom, you can choose the raise your hand icon or unmute yourself and speak.
I'd just like to say that I thank God for being here, and I appreciate the lesson today. I learned a lot, and just will continue to be a student of Christian Science, and hope that as time goes by, I'll learn more.
Thank you.
Thank you for your readings. In my sense of government, one's freedom and security depends upon the rule of law. That where the rule of law is embodied in the fabric of the society, that society has got freedom and security. We think of the rule of law as being enforced by the courts and the police and the executive branch, the judicial branch, the legislative branch, and that those humans working together, following their law, whether it be constitutional or common law, is the fabric that gives us the freedom and the security. That's a worldly sense. It's also helpful and reassuring to know that God is infinite and all-knowing, all-present, all-acting, and that God is that infinite mind, that man is the expression of that mind, and that all the law comes from God, which is the king, the judge, the legislator of all spiritual law. And that sense of law is in the hearts of men. And when we turn to that sense of law, it is a way of praying for good government for us and for all mankind. Mrs. Eddy talks about the healing of sickness and sin. She says, when the illusion of sickness or sin tempts you, cling steadfastly to God and his idea man, and let neither fear nor doubt overshadow your clear sense and calm trust that life harmonious as life eternally is can overcome any painful sense of or belief in that which life is not. That applies, I think, equally well to praying for good government, for ourselves, for others, for the world. And it starts with affirming God's presence and power, and then identifying righteousness or being law-abiding to be in accord with that mind, to lay down self and seek a spiritual idea. I'm very grateful that this foundation for prayer and for working for good government informs our thoughts and actions and impels us to do the right thing in difficult circumstances.
Thank you.
Yes, it reminds me of an experience. The subject in the readings remind me of experience I had, a number of years ago. I was working down in Raleigh, North Carolina, and my mother was with me in my home up here in Cornwall, and I had a friend from the church was looking after her while I was down there, taking care of her. I drive home every weekend to, fill up the refrigerator and hug her and give him some time off. And one night it was a Friday night, and I was driving up. I'd stay down there all week, and I'd come up on the weekends, and there was this big traffic jam in the main street going out out of Raleigh, North Carolina. And it was a police barricade, and they were checking everybody's licenses and things. I didn't know about this, but evidently this was a ritual that they did every now and then to try to get people and search, search their cars and look for drugs. And this was the local residents knew about this, and they knew stay off that street at that hour. But I was not a local resident, and I was passing through it. And I got pulled over, and they, I guess, scanned my license, and they said, your license is no good. And what had happened, I had been down south, and I had an overdue parking ticket or something. Before I knew it, I was handcuffed and thrown into jail. And I said, wow, this is government gone crazy. And can government do this kind of a thing? Crazy. And I paid bail to get out, and then I drove home very judiciously, observing all the speed limits. And the next morning, the next Monday morning, I went into the town where I had the traffic offense, and I got a clean record that I had paid it, and this was just a mix-up on the records. And I went down to back down to North Carolina, and there was a court case to be had, and I went to an attorney, and the attorney said to me something I'll never forget. I told him, I showed him the evidence. I said, look, this is just a mistake. This is clearly not my license was valid. And I said, this is about the truth. And the lawyer said to me something I never forget. He said, the law is not about the truth. I said, oh? Well, what is it about? He said, it's a process. Oh. I knew enough then and there to realize this was animal magnetism. And I realized this was what is known as sophistry. This is known as who knows who. You pay me and I'll get you off this thing. And, oh, you could be, put the fear in me. Oh, you could be in terrible trouble. I thanked him and decided never to see him again. Went to the court case, and I just stuck with the truth. The truth, the law is about the truth, and the truth governs. And it was a woman judge. I haven't had a great experience with women judges. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be sexist, but it was a woman judge, and I showed her the evidence. I just represented myself, and she took only 2 looks at it, handed it to the assistant DA, and said, "Take care of it." And he said, "Case is dismissed. There will be no record at all. This is no problem. You're free. This was just a mistake." And I saw the truth prevailed, and I went to the branch church that next day or so, and I mentioned this to them, and they said they wouldn't have expected less from this woman judge. Evidently, she was a very, very respected, very wonderful person. And it showed that, yes, the law is about truth, and truth does prevail. And I'm just so grateful that we have Christian Science, and we know not to be intimidated when government seems to go a whack, crazy. That we're governed by a universal law. She says, we must feel and know that God governs the universe, and whatever opposes is just wrong. And so I'm so grateful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the readings that you have worked so hard to provide to all of us who have listened to the services. A lot of us have listened and pondered and thought about those readings, and they have meant a tremendous amount in our lives. So I want to express my appreciation for all of the readings and all that you have given as reader to us. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you all for the testimonies, remarks, prayers, and presence and support during the service and all the services. Let's sing hymn number 204. 204. O Father, thy kingdom is come upon earth. Thou rulest in all thy creation. Thou sendest thy witnesses, telling thy worth, to call and entreat every nation with news of thy mighty salvation, with news of thy mighty salvation. They lift up a light amid shadows of fear, and love is thy banner above them. No trouble shall touch them, no foes that appear shall e'er from their loyalty move them. 'Tis thou dost uphold and approve them. 'Tis thou dost uphold and approve them. They go in thy strength, and they speak in thy name, with power of thy promise forth-faring, and during the battle the victory claim. Their trust in thy truth is their daring, salvation to all men declaring. Salvation to all men declaring. Number 204.